Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for Render. Now, last time we were looking for multiple different counts as 1-2 setups, and this was the most bullish scenario, which we just made one more three-wave move to the downside, and we took off from there. I wasn't sure what we were going to get because we knew we were getting that drop in Bitcoin, and it all kind of depended how well it held up between everything else. And it looks like that's all we got because the last video was this move. It was right in that area, as you can see, right in that area, and we were looking for another three-wave, which we got. So now we have to discuss where that leaves us now. Now this is the trouble when you don't get a really good risk-reward entry to begin with, is you have to lean biased one way or the other, and my bias currently is that we are very, very extremely bullish. Potentially 5 1-2s in a row. Now, if you follow my videos, you know I don't like to do more than 3 1-2s in a row. Otherwise, it's more likely a corrective move. But the speed of these moves leads me to believe we are this bullish. And in that scenario, even these standard fib guidelines for Elliott Wave for our third around $58 might be a little too low. I'm not trying to FOMO anybody in. I'm just making you prepared that we need to pull fibs off each 1-2, right? And it just gets more extreme every time we do. So I'm going to just play this one wave by wave and go with invalidation levels as we move. So you can see we're in price discovery. Sometimes we consolidate below, as you can see, and then take off and never come back and revisit. Sometimes we come above and consolidate on the highs, which could be happening as well. Very difficult to know what's going to play out till it does. That's the issue with price discovery. It's very hard to buy in without a lot of price history. All we know is we're making all-time highs, and if there's enough FOMO and people, you know, supporting price, it just keeps going and going and going until it breaks. So if we look on the larger time frame, again, very ugly diagonal, and then a second diagonal, 1-2, another 1-2, another 1-2, and a micro 1-2. So if this is playing out, it's pretty bullish. You know, I don't like doing that. I really don't. But you can see we're getting faster and faster each wave. And our impulses are getting shorter and shorter in time. So we're most likely going on smaller and smaller time frames, 1-2s. So get back to that 15-minute. We had that WXY. And that, I believe, would be our fifth 1-2 if it plays out. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5. So we'll talk about invalidation levels and everything like that. But there is a scenario where this comes down lower. And that is we do not have a clean 5-wave move off this WXY. Right? We did move nicely above it, but we have not made a 5-wave move. So what we have to consider is we could still end up making some sort of B wave here if it drags out. I'm just giving you alternatives if we don't make 5 waves. There's our B zone. We hit off it nicely. This could just drag out. This could drag out and then make another move to the downside. This could be the middle of a B wave. I expect us to get 5 wave just because the speed of this, because it would really have to drag out in time because we'd be looking for a similar time frame as the first wave down, right? So it'd turn into a lot of choppy overlap if we don't make 5 waves here. So if that is our fifth 1-2, we expect this to make 5 waves to the upside, and it's not complete yet. And this would be my entry after the pattern fills out. I was talking to a friend earlier about this because he's a little more FOMO and he wants to just buy in, but I have to remind myself of these things at the same time too, is we only have 3 waves up. And that can also be an ABC or a WXY until it confirms the pattern to us, right? So those of you that have bought up into these, assuming those 5 waves, and then what happens, the market just draws down on you, right? It can be pretty frustrating. It can feel like it's just meant to go against you. That's where people are like, it's rigged, all this and that. But if you're aware of these things, this could just get dragged out in time, and we just drag sideways for a while. It becomes much easier to decide where your entries are. So if this ends up being 5 waves, I would most likely consider it another 1-2. And how I would play that out is, let's check out our fib levels here. Just to be clear, I can't give targets at this point because we need some validation whether this is correct or not. This looks very extended already. Yeah, past the 200. This looks like it can be 5 waves, very short wave 2 though. This can also be a diagonal. So if this is an ABC, this could be an ABC. And we could end up making a diagonal here. Get another move to the upside. And then we correct back. Pretty impulsive diagonal. Or we just get an extended third wave, which that would be our wave 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, with an expanded flat. And let's see here. We'd be halfway through it. So if this ends up being a diagonal to start with, again, we're not sure which one we're going to get. We could get our third wave complete over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 14.31. Come back, make our fourth, make our fifth around $15 to $16. And this would be my buy zone to leverage up or whatever if you're in a position. I'd want to wait to make sure these pan out before I get too excited about this setup. Because again, we could just collapse from here, make a big B wave, and we just extend out in time. So those are the two options right now. Either these are 3-wave ABCs. If we get one more up, then I'd consider it a diagonal. If we get the move up, complete our third, then our fifth, then that would be an impulse. We're not sure which one we get, right? So we'll see how this one pans out, but it does look very good. It looks very, very good. Again, if you're not in this, I would wait for one of those to pan out and expect a shy retracement, even potentially consolidate above this previous wave would be ideal. Just to keep this trend as bullish as possible. That's where I would look for at these levels, and potentially anticipating running flats rather than zigzags if this is this bullish. I was talking to a friend about that too, and you need to have a bias in these situations if you are super bullish. If you look at previous trends of price discovery and whatnot, you have to go back and back test and say, okay, what are the most likely corrections we get? And you will find that they're usually running flats. That's where, say we get this move, sometimes Elliott Wave can, if you go with the standard guidelines, can actually hurt you because you're expecting this ABC with the 1-to-1 extension at the 618 and the 50 that never comes, and you miss the whole move. So if you back test and you understand that more likely we make these kind of corrections and you can defend the A wave as your stop and these make running flats, then you're ready for the move and you won't miss it. So just a little bit of advice. Again, we can get that zigzag, absolutely. I'm just saying more likely than not, we don't if we are in alt season. So you got to change the way you trade a little bit between, bear markets and bull markets. All right, guys, so that is it for render. I'm going to be paying pretty close attention to this. I will give you updates on this regularly here. Looking for this move to come. All right, guys, that's it for render. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.